Well, welcome everyone to Perpetua live summer sessions. This is our second summer session. First one was awesome. And we're here now with Mark Power, the CEO of Podian, marketplace marketing strategy agency. Did I get that right, Mark?
Yeah, sort of. We're a global Amazon agency and marketplace consultancy.
Got it. And Mark, you're also the author of Amazon for CMOs.
Yes.
Welcome, Mark.
To be clear, I'm the co-author of Amazon for CMOs. I was very fortunate to be writing that. I wrote that with Kiri Masters, another prolific thought leader in the Amazon and marketplace space.
Got it. Cool. And that was over almost a year ago when that was published, right?
No, well, we finished the manuscript June last year and we published in September, which seems like a very, very long time ago. Lots of that book is still relevant, but I would say even in the last 7-8 months since we launched the book, a lot has changed. So I think, a bit has evolved, but the foundations and the theory in that book is all still relevant.
Yeah, what would you say some of those prevailing wisdoms that for someone that hasn't read the book, everyone should just think about whenever they're approaching Amazon as a growth channel and a marketing channel?
Well, I mean, up until early March, I was still out selling my company and also preaching to the unconverted, many C-suite executives and companies who were not looking at Amazon as a strategic imperative. The book goes into why Amazon should be thought of differently by the C-suite, the CMO and others, because it was usually seen as just a sales channel, and if it's not a sales channel that we're interested in, it's a flea market, and we're not interested. That was sort of it. Versus Amazon is so broad, it is so much more than just a online marketplace now. It is really something that the C-suite needs to think about how they partner with Amazon, because it's like saying back in 2008 or 9. I'm not going, or maybe 2005 or 6, I'm not going to partner with Google. We don't think Google is relevant to our strategy moving forward, so let's ignore it. Or we think that Facebook in 2010, let's say, we think Facebook is not going to be part of any client or customer engagement strategy. So to think that way, we were trying to educate the C-suite.
And you say the word partner. Like what does that mean? If I'm a CMO or if I'm in the C-suite and I want to be bought in this sort of partnership with Amazon, what does that really look like to you?
Well, I just think it's not about just having your products on Amazon. Amazon now has a very, very robust advertising offering, and it is now disrupting industry after industry after industry. Okay, so every CEO needs to be monitoring Amazon, needs to be understanding what it's doing in its market, how it's relevant for its particular sector, what it's doing in that category, what others are doing. And Amazon is also, the clients that we're working with who are really sort of at an advanced state are looking at Amazon as a platform for innovation, right? Really, really looking at Amazon, not just, we sell a product on there, but how do we innovate at the speed of Amazon or close to the speed of Amazon, which is very difficult. But that is where clients were looking at Google back in the day, right? Now, Google's just an advertising juggernaut, right? Amongst other things, but Amazon really is disrupting at a level we've never seen any company disrupt before. So I think it's more of a mentality to how do we partner with Amazon versus how do we sell on Amazon.
Got it. That's really insightful. And you've been in this for a while. I know that Podian has only been around for a little less than 2 years, but before that, you were at IPG. And for those that are listening that aren't familiar with what a holdco media agency is, can you just do a brief introduction of what that entails and specifically what you were doing at IPG that brought you to Podian?
Yeah, so I was at IPG. I think I joined in 2015, and I joined with my now current business partner, Travis Johnson, who was building out a global mobile and innovation advertising and solutions group called Ansible. And we had a very good run building that out, grew that to 21 countries in under 2 years, and very, very fast growing, helping clients look at how does the consumer engage with a brand through mobile, right? So there's a lot to that. But back in 2015, we were still dealing with trying to convince huge brands that mobile was important. This is 2015. Think about that. Yes, mobile was advanced then, but there were still big brands who were still spending most of their money on TV, most of their money on search and display and social, and just mobile just was, oh, we do mobile, but that was through Facebook, it was through Google, versus how do we engage with consumers? So we did some cool stuff there, but then we really saw an opportunity in the Amazon space. So I sort of gravitated towards that in IPG and helped build the Amazon Center of Excellence, helped build a partnership with Amazon and start developing that within IPG. And IPG is a big, vast, I love that company. It's a vast holding company with some great people, but every agency has its different specialization and there's lots of folks doing different things. There's search, there's display, there's TV, but no one was really focusing on Amazon. So I sort of dove deep, but also tried to make sure that people were being educated about the potential of Amazon. And I think holding companies, there's so much
And was this specifically with the lens of media? Or was it full suite then?
But very, very quickly, we were trying to get across that Amazon's not going to work as media alone. Okay, if you're an endemic client, if you're trying to sell something on Amazon, you can't just now go and set up like you could in 2007, 8, 9, set up a page and then sell, right? You now need to apply media. So media plus retail operations and content and marketing and merchandising, all these things need to go together to be successful on Amazon, amongst a lot of other things, such as the right logistics and frameworks and profitability. To ultimately drive profitability, you need all this working together. And that's what we're about now is long-term profitability, because Amazon has been too focused. The brands have been focused too much on scale and sales, and profitability has been an afterthought. And so that's where I think there's an opportunity for brands to now sort of regroup around Amazon and really work out what their profitability is, and then try and drive sustainable long-term growth, not just growth.
And I'd love to touch on that in a bit, but first I want to get to this genesis of Podian. And so you left IPG.
Yep.
You said, I'm going to start my own agency. I think I can do a better job. What do you think around that time, regardless of IPG, but what do you think holdco media agencies were getting wrong about Amazon that you thought, Mark, you could start something that could carve your own niche and tell a different story to potential clients?
Well, I think the holdcos were starting to realize that Amazon was important, but within a holding company, there's a programmatic agency, then there is a search agency, then there is a content agency, then there is a retail or shopper marketing agency, or different capabilities. And they all do incredibly great work within their realm, but Amazon is everything. And it was very difficult to sort of try and get everyone to come together and create a solution that was, truly integrated. And so, yeah, they could.
So if you thought, and I think some agencies are doing this now with the hub model with spokes of specialty, you thought it was just too disintermediated, disconnected, and it needed to be harmonious within one agency, correct?
Yeah, well, or maybe not one agency, but maybe around like sort of a consultative mesh that brought together those capabilities, but were able to sort of deliver an account management and strategic sort of framework to the client with activation maybe sitting within that in an integrated fashion. I just think holding companies were, everyone's trying to find, say, hey, Amazon's with us, but it's not just about search, or hey, we do Amazon because we're the retail team, but it's not just about retail. So we think holding companies are going to get it together. They'll either buy these specialist companies or they'll try and integrate, which they eventually did to do well when digital came around and mobile came around. But on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the Amazon specialist agencies, do great work, but they're very, very siloed within Amazon. Okay, so they know retail, they know search, but they're not understanding the true challenges that a CMO has across all that they're doing across brand, digital, media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So a CMO is really a CIO, a chief investment officer, because they're investing usually the second biggest line item for most companies, which is marketing costs, right? So a CMO is sort of saying, well, traditionally Amazon's been sitting over there in another division, and now the
which would primarily be sales, correct? It would be just an additional sales channel.
Yeah, in the retail team or channel team, and that's maybe where it should have started and grown. But now it's like, well, hey, we're spending millions of dollars on advertising that is sort of being planned separately. So we designed Podian and launched Podian to sit in between, right? To make all the retail and operational and sort of the lower funnel marketplace marketing really work and hum, but make it work in an integrated fashion with everything else that a company is doing, their D2C, their offline, make sure attribution is solved as much as we can solve it, and all these other things that is continually challenging the marketing group within an organization, which has a lot of pressure to drive sales, but also drive ROI. And at the moment, we don't believe that brands are doing that efficiently, and we're trying to change that.
Great. And so when you first started, it was you and a couple folks on your team. I remember meeting you about 2 years ago when you were just starting off. And one of the things that obviously you're touching on is there's so many services and there's so many layers of expertise. But how do you support those initial clients? And what sort of engagements did you find when you first started Podium? And how have those now sort of evolved as the teams evolved?
Well, initially there was early last year in particular, clients were like, we really struggling with, getting the right return on investment for advertising. So we were advising around advertising and advising around strategy before we really scale the business, and which is, helping clients with all their end-to-end operations from supply chain through to innovation and everything in between, which we now offer and deliver. We were really more of a strategic consultancy with some advertising activation, but those strategic engagements, which were very much myself and a couple of key team members and my business partner Travis, who joined last year, we were advising companies, those that sold on Amazon and those that didn't, some in the automotive space and other what we call non-endemic clients. Really, how do they plan for what Amazon is doing in their category, and how do they win in the long term and achieve profitability? Because I think profitability is sort of the elephant in the room. And since COVID, we've seen this huge, blip on the radar appear on the C-suite's radar, which is Amazon, right? Because previously it was sort of stuffed somewhere in the organization. And all of a sudden, my retail sales, foot traffic dropped, COVID came along, foot traffic dropped, and then, hey, our retail sales, they disappeared. What's happening with e-commerce? And I could talk for hours about this, some of the stories, but e-commerce has just become so important because 3 to 5 years of consumer behavior, which would have has just condensed into 3 months, right?
Of course, yeah. We share that chart with many presentations where, the US was always a laggard in terms of e-commerce as a percentage of total retail, being in the low teens relative to a China, which almost hits 40% in some instances. And literally just like that, e-commerce as a percentage of total retail has hit into the, I'm pretty sure, low 20s to mid 20s. So some things have fundamentally changed, and purchasing behavior has fundamentally changed, and there's some unique set of circumstances there. So you were doing these strategic engagements with non-endemic and endemic clients, and just as someone working from a side, and we worked together in the past, it seems as though the agency really hit a whole new level when your current now business partner also joined you, Travis. And what was Travis doing before? Can you kind of convey that for those that are listening?
After Travis left IPG and he went to Dentsu and created what I discussed before, which was this consultative mesh. So
was he jealous? Like, it's Mark's leading this Amazon Center of Excellence at IPG. Let me do this at Dentsu. And then he's like, oh man, Mark's starting his own company. Let me join Mark at that company. Is that what's going on here?
Travis and I were great business partners at IPG. And the moment I launched the company, I had my eyes set on us getting the party back together. But we as industry sort of people who like to challenge the industry, we both were, talking and trying to work out where the opportunity is. Travis within a holding group, me out doing it myself. But then I realized that, as long as we can have that consultative mesh, that strategic side of the business, that's where the real value is for clients. The activation pieces can come from tech partners, can come from consultants, can come from your own team, and you can scale that, right? We've scaled agencies and services businesses before. We've done that for 20 plus years. The strategic stuff, you just can't do that overnight. And so we're actually applying many years of integrated marketing experience and innovation and consulting into this Amazon space. And I'll be very confident, not arrogant, but we believe we're bringing a whole new level of sophistication to this sector just because we're just bringing traditional marketing methodologies, things that I learned at university back in 1998, into this Amazon space, which has traditionally been very siloed. And Amazon doesn't make it easy to integrate because it itself is very siloed. Hugely successful, but it doesn't make it easy for brands to navigate. And any brand who says Amazon's easy to navigate and offers us a truly integrated experience is probably one or two, maybe you.
I don't think anyone's necessarily saying that.
And even the white glove
regardless of the size of brand, I don't think anyone's saying that. One thing that I thought's been really cool in watching Podium as well is you made a very big bet on going global early. Specifically, I know that you opened up an Australia office, and I sense is that an Australian accent, Mark?
Yeah, I think it is.
So you made a bet on Australia a while ago, and you hired a team in the UK afterwards, right? Can you speak to some of the bets that you made globally and why you thought that it was really important to build your agency almost global first?
Yeah, well, I identified, and as a company, we identified that you can't go and build an Amazon business without the US having some foundation in the US. So, being in New York is where we founded the company. We're a US headquartered company, but my first company that I built, which was an email marketing business back in the day, it was global. And, so global isn't anything that's ever scared us. Setting up offices around the world traditionally, has, it's a lot cheaper now to do it because everything's virtual versus sort of having to set up heavy offices and all the things you had to do. But we were always planning to set up a global business and roll out globally just because we knew that Amazon is offering a global platform to sell. So, yes, we decided Australia first just because, we know Australia very well, but also Amazon Advertising launched there early last year. And we realized that they are going to need a partner, not just to do search ads and not just to do DSP activation, but one that helps offer a complete end-to-end solution for those Aussie brands that want to get on the platform and grow. And now we're at a stage where those early clients that got onto Amazon are doing well in Australia and also now coming to us for get us into the US, get us into Canada, get us into Europe, and where else can you take us? So Australia was first, then we went to Europe just because we knew that Europe would be a market that's very strategic, particularly for US brands trying to open up into the European market where there's 300 million people, I think. I forget the numbers. It's just some astronomical numbers, and it's a mature market because particularly fulfillment in Europe is sort of a bit more straightforward because you've got a lot more hubs. But Amazon is a great European platform. You can go in and have access to 27 markets going into Europe, and then we're launching Dubai. We're launching in Dubai, which covers MENA, Middle East, Northern Africa, in October 1. And then it'll be Singapore, which is our Asian hub. So we're trying to offer our clients a global solution, but you can't do that from within the United States. And I'll challenge anyone because there's some global agencies out there who say, oh yeah, we're a global Amazon agency. And yeah, we'll put your products over in Europe. Okay, you can do that, but the real results will come from having local advisory, local partnership, partnership with Amazon, and getting really good service and alignment with Amazon's strategy in those markets. So we're helping our clients with people on the ground so they don't have to put any people on the ground, and help them in a much more sort of localized fashion, but under a global account management structure, which is what our clients want. They don't want to have all the heavy lifting. We do all that for them.
Right. I know that people definitely appreciate being accommodating to their time zone, and you can really only get that on Zoom calls when you're actually in that time zone. So how big's the team now, out of curiosity?
We have about 25 people within the group, and counting. We're very lucky that COVID has got a lot of those conversations really accelerated. So we're really growing through a period of uncertainty in the broader marketing sector. But we're hiring a range of different people. But the team, I'll be very honest, not all of our team come from an Amazon background. Okay, we've got some ex-Amazon people.
Mark, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Well, we're bringing on people who are continually, like, just the talent that we bring on is they're curious, they're motivated, they're the people who just put their hand up and are very consultative and sort of very much service orientated. But Amazon, it's not about, hey, I know Amazon back to front. That stuff can be learned. We rather people with a diverse skill set to then bring new ideas and new ways of thinking to what has been a tradition. Because otherwise, if you're doing the same thing in Amazon as everyone else, this is actually our branding and our Podium, what Podium means. If you're doing the same, okay, you're just in a race to the bottom for cost per clicks, okay? So where Podian actually means the opposite, right? We're trying to do things differently. We're trying to challenge our clients. And that's why we're actually challenging our clients at the moment to, what's your profitability? And very few can give an answer, right? And that actually—
Why is that? Why can I not give an answer? Isn't it simply looking at a P&L and seeing net profits?
No, it's not. But the Amazon reports won't give you net profits, true net profits to what's going on. You actually have to extract a huge amount from an organization, and the bigger the organization, the more data. And you need to be talking to warehousing, supply chain people. You need to be talking to the marketing people. You need to involve their agencies.
What do we lose there? What was that? Water bottle?
The water bottle, my ex-IPG water bottle. So any IPGers, just, I love you guys. But one of our clients, we're literally talking to about 30 different people and engaging with 30 people across their organization, all of which have different data points. And we crunch those data points in our models. And then we come up with profitability modeling on a per product basis and then help advise them and make decisions on what they need to do. Unfortunately, some clients and brands out there that maybe even on this call, they're stuck in an unhappy relationship with Amazon. And I don't want any Amazon people to be offended because, this is just how it's ended up. They've gotten into a first party relationship with Amazon back in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever. And all of a sudden there's fees, there's chargebacks, and there's, hey, we've got this merchandising thing and no one's telling me how to use it. And it's just a lot of confusion and complexity for them to navigate. And they're like, I don't know what money we're making here. Okay. And so we take all that data, crunch it, and then give some insights back to our clients, then make informed decisions that are confident into what they can do next, whether it's changing from first party to third party, or go to a hybrid model, or to take these products off and put these products on. There's just so much data that needs to be crunched. And I think one of the bigger pieces of advice that we give our clients is, you've got an Amazon person who's running with Amazon, but if you actually crunched the data lately, if you've involved the CFO, have you got some financial analysis done recently to really understand profitability and regroup around that? Because Amazon can get into a bit of a rhythm and you're always firefighting and troubleshooting and advertising, and there's all these things you have to do. But then how do you get under the hood and really do that analysis and spend the time to then help you make informed decisions for how you're going to get onto long-term sustainable profitability?
So if I'm a brand that's coming to Podian and I want to, let's call it, what does this profitability audit look like? I come into you, do I literally say to my CFO, look at all my financials, here's this, and that, and then Podian comes back to me. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing the agency. Podian or Podian?
Podian. Do you want to be on the Podian? Or
okay.
You can be part of it. You can either be on the Podian or you can be part of Podian. We don't care.
All right, mix and match. So I'm the brand. I'm coming to you. I give you all of my financials, all my reporting. I go into AWrap and I download everything I possibly can in Vendor Central. What does that then look like? How would you advise me differently? What are the next steps that I need to take as a brand?
Well, we crunch that data using our model called Profit. It's actually PROPHET, Profit. Okay. But the profit model is continually expanding because we feel that we've got an understanding of all the Amazon calculators and things, but they continually change. And there's things that we're finding from some of these Amazon, numbers that we get that, there's a lot of gray areas, let's say. I won't go into that, but this model is continually expanding. It's a complex model, but we take the cost of goods, we take the retail, we take the wholesale. We can get some very basic analysis done. When a client's sort of like, hey, tell us what you can do here. That basic analysis usually raises some eyebrows going, whoa, so these products aren't profitable, but they are? Or, hey, this model isn't working for us. Or, hey, this FBA, what else could we do? So it gives us some initial insights. But then once we dive deep, we're talking to warehousing people, supply chain people. We really extract a lot of that information. And that's where the CFO, it's not just the CMO or the chief digital officer or head of e-com. The head of e-com we partner with, but having access to these other people and getting the data that they're running with, bringing that into the model to understand how we can optimize 1% here, 2% there. So it's not just advertising, it's not just retail, it's all the fulfillment, it's all the supply chain, it's all the logistics, it's all the warehousing where you can extract huge amounts of margin that traditionally has been locked up. So our job is to unlock that. And so that is usually one of the first things we do with a client. Plus we do these things called Fixathons, because everyone, a lot of agencies we compete with are like, hey, we'll do your media and here's a percentage of media. And it's like, great, okay, media is great. But if you don't have the foundation sorted, if you don't have your PDPs, your A+ content and all of that sorted, forget scaling media, forget it, because we can make more impact spending 2, 3, 4 weeks fixing all that stuff. And we do these things called Fixathons, right? And we're very proud of them because we can nail it. The team just all go in, fix this stuff. And then
what's usually the lowest hanging fruit item that needs to be fixed on a Fixathon?
Oh, basics like imagery, bullet points, copy, responding to reviews, taking review information, putting that into the copies, Q&As, basic stuff that unfortunately the head of e-com or the agency that they're working with just hasn't had the resource or the ability to spend the time on this stuff. Amazon is a detail-orientated platform. You need to be detail-orientated. I'm actually not detail-orientated, but my team are, which is great. You've got to surround yourself with people who can complement you. But the detail you need to win, it's really incredible. And changing this stuff and optimizing and tweaking it, and then putting a program in for continual and ongoing optimization can actually increase your, sort of conversion rates by 10%, and you start to look at that compared to advertising and other things, it can make quite an impact. That plus other optimization across fulfillment, supply chain, advertising, it could all make a huge difference.
Right. And so in that Fixathon, once you actually do the fixing as your agency, do you then provide like ongoing best practices and like how often, as an example, we're talking about a refreshing PDP, how often would you say a brand should refresh a PDP?
It depends on the client, but yeah, we have playbooks. Each client, there's general strategic playbooks, and then there's each client. Some might have 1,000 or 5,000 ASINs. Other clients are just focused on 3 or 4, just absolutely knowing that. So it all depends. But it's just an ongoing cycle. There's just no let up. It's just marketing. And I tell everyone who I either sort of, who talks to me about getting into the marketing industry or Amazon or anything, it's just like, it's a 24/7 career. Okay. There is no let up. It used to be different because it used to be, hey, here's print, okay, and here's TV, okay, and then it was a bit different in the marketing sector. You finished up on a Friday, there was nothing happening. You read the Sunday paper or saw the ad that you placed. Now it's 24/7. Shoppers are shopping all the time. So it's an always on thing, and Amazon is a pure example of that. It's always on. People are shopping, and now globally, our clients are always on. They've got people everywhere, 24/7, 365 shopping. So you can't have a let up. And unfortunately, Amazon doesn't make it easy because they will come out of nowhere you'll be swimming one week, and on a Friday afternoon, something gets delisted for no reason that you knew, nothing that you did wrong. And all of a sudden you've got a whole weekend of sales, and the time it takes for you to get a response from Amazon later next week, gone. And we're helping clients troubleshoot that stuff, but we can't even predict that. There's tools you can use and things that you can put in place, but that impacts profitability. At the moment, we're working really interestingly with some clients on contingency planning. And these are clients that we got the foundations right. We're now swimming. Growth is really, started on a profitable track. And now they're like, well, how do we ensure we don't have products offline or inventory not there? Or how do we ensure that through the holiday period in Q4, we do not have any problems slowing down our sales? Because we want to make up for the tough 3 or 4 months that we've just had. So I think contingency planning is a huge thing that clients now need to think about with Amazon, now that it's so much more important, and other marketplaces.
Are you guys already advising on inventory planning for Q4 right now?
We're advising clients. Inventory is just key. It's part of our whole supply chain consulting piece, which I think just cannot be separated from retail and advertising and everything else. We're very proud that we have this end-to-end consultative model, because we believe you need it all to win. But if you're not thinking inventory now and what's going to be happening in Q3 and Q4 with the impact of COVID, we wrote some articles, they're on our blog, and we comment on this all the time. There is going to continue to be disruption in the world's supply chain and logistics. We've got clients who've got product shipping, and they're getting caught up because some warehouse that it came from now is closed, And so they can't get paperwork to then get shipped or be scanned to be sent to where the products are now in Rotterdam, for example. There's so much disruption that we cannot plan. So how do you minimize that disruption and have contingency? And it will take some investment. So, okay, well, let's put some products in this type of warehouse in case or what have you. But it's going to be worth it for those brands that really will rely on that Q4 for a big chunk of their sales. So we're excited about consulting around that, but it just takes a brand to go, right, we need to be forward thinking, not reactive.
And you alluded to this a moment ago, but the change from potentially a 1P model, which leads to a little bit of messiness, to hybrid, and a 3P model entirely. What are the things that you look for in advising someone to move off of 1P to hybrid or 3P? Like what would necessitate a brand from changing their fulfillment model with Amazon, or the retail relationship with Amazon?
Firstly, the first thing is don't be afraid. Okay, it's very easy to
Why would someone be afraid?
Oh,
well, change?
Well, it's addictive. It's like, oh, I've got these POs coming in. I don't want to stop those POs. Those POs are dependent for me to buy more product, make more product. I've got POs coming in, 2 a month, 3 a month, 10 a month, 100 a month, or, one every quarter, whatever it is. It's very tough for a client to say, yeah, we're going all in, versus how about we test this out and we learn what's going to work. Firstly, let's do the analysis, all right? What products, usually a price point has been a very common thing. Products, let's say under $6 and $6 an ASIN. Oh, that might be better off with a 1P relationship versus those that are more than $6. And by the way, $6 is just a random number I've picked, but there is a price point where it makes sense for Amazon to be giving you purchase orders and then you fulfill those. Whereas if you go above, we've done the analysis, is anything over that certain price point could be giving you up to 50 to 150% more profit going through a third party relationship.
And you arbitrarily chose $6. Is there an actual number that you think about between going 1P to 3P, or does it depend on the actual item?
Each category is going to be different, their product size. We've got this in our model, product sizing and the Amazon category, the Amazon commission and the fees and fulfillment. There's so many factors. And as I said, our model keeps developing, but for example, $6 is one category, is $6.
Is there a specific category that you have in mind that you can?
This was in the health and wellness category. And these products are usually easily distributed. You and I talked about stand-up paddleboards earlier, right? They're going to have a completely different price point. Some of their prices are going to be higher and they'll have accessories. Some might be better off on 1P, others might be better off on 3P. But ultimately, we're finding the hybrid model is, in this modern day and where Amazon is at, is we're finding the hybrid model is where we're drifting towards with most of our engagements.
And how should one think about the hybrid model? Should the bulk of the sales be coming from vendor and seller just backfilling the inventory while vendor's waiting for a PO? How do you advise, what's the ideal hybrid strategy?
I wouldn't say strategy. I'd just say conduct the analysis, go deep, get a CFO, get the right people in there, get the right data in there, right partner, but do the analysis and then have a plan to methodically start to shift don't shift them all out. Let's try some. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how this whole relationship starts to work. And within months, though, you can actually achieve a full transition where you've got, here's my, let's say 20, 30 products on 1P, but here I have 100 on 3P. And that actually could then be driving more profit, and it gives you more control. It gives you more, much more control when we're talking about the brand protection side of things as well. Yeah, there's things where if you go all 3P, which can happen, some clients might be particularly high price point, might be better off going all 3P, but that doesn't give me a vendor manager. Well, okay, fine. But what's your vendor manager there to do? They're there to sell you more. They're selling you more merchandising, more advertising.
Well, I think that some people just like to have a voice on the other end at Amazon. Whether it be a vendor manager, whether it be someone at AMG managing your DSP campaign, they just want someone to talk to. And in some instances, they might even pay a premium for it, right?
Yeah, and they're fantastic. And we work with several great vendor managers, right? But they're never going to say, hey, go hybrid or go 3P. I mean, so what I'm trying to say is Amazon will give you great advice around a number of things, but I don't believe that Amazon's, it's in its best interest to say, hey, we're going to make you more profit, okay? we're going to help you make more profit. Amazon's about helping you make more sales, and that's great. That's their remit, and that's what you want from them. But the brand needs to take it upon itself to drive the profitability and make more margin from Amazon. And I think that's the shift that we're trying to push with clients and push to the industry is, hey, don't just be taken in by what we've all done before, like challenge it. And I think that we're working with some brands now who are realizing, wow, this could be a really profitable channel if we don't do the same thing and challenge our warehouse team, challenge our supply chain team, challenge our advertising team, challenge everyone. And that's what we're about as an agency and consultancy, is to don't just do the same old stuff. Let's challenge it. And you can't just go and make stupid decisions. That's why I keep referring back to crunching the numbers, data-informed decisions, and not just ARAP data and stuff that comes from Amazon. All the data that you've got within your organization. Yeah, we work in a lot of spreadsheets, but the outcomes of that analysis, it helps you make confident decisions to then go and test this. And then that test then turns into a real strategy that we can then roll out for a client locally or globally.
Great. And so just a reminder to everyone that's listening, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. We're taking questions at any point in time. We're here with Mark Power, CEO of Podian. Mark, one thing we haven't really talked about that's obviously a subject that we like to talk about here at Perpetua is media and advertising on Amazon. And, you know, I think one of the things that a lot of brands struggle with is how do you both juggle this aim of being profitable with media? And can they actually go hand in hand? And can I run an awareness campaign on the DSP and be profitable on that ASIN? And I'm curious to know how you and your team advise companies in thinking about their media spend while also simultaneously thinking about profitability.
So the way we work, and in most cases, we've come across nearly every case, very rarely will we have a client go, here's our media spend, run with it. Usually our clients have got bigger challenges, right? Or they're trying to develop a strategy for more profitable and sustainable growth, right? Or they've been troubleshooting Amazon, being behind the 8 ball too much, et cetera, et cetera. There's just, most of our clients are coming to us because they're just not getting what they want from the relationship. And it's not a relationship with Amazon, but just how they've been approaching things. So usually when we go through the audit and the analysis and the strategic development of a strategy, we look at advertising to give us sort of some insights. We take over the advertising, let's see how they're going, right? But usually there's a lot of fixing to do and sort of strategic shifts that we need to make. So we put advertising into sort of like let's make it as efficient as possible, but we keep that maintaining, get some insights. But whilst we then go through the, I guess, implementation of the strategy and the fixing and the foundation building, usually a rebuild and getting the content right and all that, we then call it crawl, walk, run, sprint. Because for me to go, hey client, we think you should spend $250,000 a year because you do 2.5 million. Yeah, we could say that, but clients are then going, well, golly, we've got issues. Do we really want to be spending that? And so we try and say, right, we're going to be very careful with how we spend. And then as soon as we get the insights, as soon as we see what's working, we're going to optimize. Then we're going to walk faster. Then we'll start running. Then we'll sprint. And clients feel really comfortable because it means that we can be flexible and agile with their budget and push the budget to where it works whilst we're fixing things. They just don't want to see money wasted. So we're very careful and then we scale. So it's like, I wouldn't say a hockey stick, but, you know, because you're Canadian, I know, but, you know, just really, it's nice and smooth, then just scale it, right?
It sounds almost counterintuitive. The media agency vets are thinking of going efficiency and not asking for a bigger budget when you begin working with someone.
That's all you hear. That's all you hear. Okay,
Yeah.
I've been on calls with Amazon. I've been on calls back in the day where I've heard others in the Amazon space just go, oh, you want more sales, got to spend more, because they're just aligned to that. Okay, we need more media, and we're not saying that. Okay, we're saying, hey, look, you don't need to spend more media. There's so much more you can do to optimize for profitability. Yes, you need media as part of the flywheel, building that flywheel, and you can't not now. Like, you can't be successful on Amazon unless you have a truly unique product. That I just don't think you can be successful on Amazon without media now. But I think building that flywheel, it's really important. It's part of the flywheel build, but the answer is not always spend more media. And that's what you will hear from Amazon. And that's what you will hear from, you know, Amazon media agencies. And they will do great work. They're great at optimizing and everything, but but we're much deeper than that. We're deeper and more strategic. And I think media is one component that you need to work with. What I do believe in, Adam, and you'll love to hear this, is you have to work with a third-party technology, or set of third-party technology vendors, whether it's on the analytics side or optimization side. Your platform's exceptional, but you have to use them. Amazon's tools are not built in a way to truly optimize the end-to-end advertising budget, okay? So working with platforms like Perpetua and others out there is very, very important. And I still see lots of clients using the tools that Amazon gives them. And I think a quick opportunity, very low-hanging fruit, is to work with platforms like yours to quickly get 10, 20, 30, 40% increases very, very quickly, which is what we recommend at the very least. So if you're not ready to work with a partner like us or re-overhaul your whole Amazon strategy, just go and work with an optimization platform, because you're going to see the impact very quickly.
And so in addition to using a technology provider when that brand gets in that, let's call it sprint and run phase, how else do you advise those brands on manufacturing momentum on that flywheel with advertising and media?
Well, I think firstly, the flywheel is reviews, it is content, or getting organic, it is everything, not just advertising is going to build your flywheel. It's all these things. How are you profitable for Amazon? Are you Prime? All of that builds that flywheel and traffic. And the flywheel is a concept that everyone needs to understand. It's how Amazon's built its business, but it's also how you succeed on Amazon. And that's where a lot of brands understand it, but the sellers, and everyone should understand there's a difference between a brand and a third-party seller on Amazon. Some of these companies are making hundreds of millions of dollars just selling products on Amazon, but they're not necessarily brands that we know in the marketing sector. Advertising, I think advertising is just absolutely 100% required, but search.
And within advertising, you guys have built your own proprietary media planning tool as well, that you advise clients on. So let's walk through that at that sprint phase of, okay, how do I think about allocating the right amount? What is the right amount? How should I spread that across DSP and sponsored ads?
Yeah, so our belief is that search is absolutely essential, but search is capturing intent, okay? So people who are essentially, seeking products in that category or seeking your brand, and that's great, but you need to really get that right. That is a foundational part of working Amazon to its fullest, right? But you now have Amazon DSP, which allows you've got some new display, sponsored display and things that you can do, but display, video, and other things that Amazon now offers in its very vast offering, right? That the Amazon advertising group offers. How do you actually work out what's the right mix? And so we built a tool called Journey, which helps you work out what that optimal spend and media mix is. And this comes from the traditional media agency backgrounds that we have.
Mark, you guys are great at naming your tools. What do we got? We got Journey, Profit.
Yep. I think
you mentioned another one.
Well, we've got one coming, which is a voice SEO product. Okay.
What's it going to be called?
Well, before I give the name,
okay.
I'd like to ask the audience to submit a name for our voice SEO product, because we believe voice is going to be essential from a product search category plus more. I could go into voice very deep today, but I won't. But voice is important, and everyone should get their head around it. But it's not just about what advertising opportunities you could have in voice. How are you going to be relevant when Amazon Alexa becomes really ingrained in everything that they're doing?
When there's no screen.
There's no screen.
When it's all chat.
How do you become organically relevant? And our voice SEO product is going to help clients solve that challenge.
That's great. So pardon me before rudely interrupting on the naming of your products, but I love it. We need to do a better job of product marketing our products that like you guys. So talk to us about Journey. It's a media planning tool.
Yeah. So now that search has always been there, it's a very important, but now you've got different parts of search. You've got sponsored products, sponsored brands. You've got other elements that Amazon launches. You've got DSP, which does display, it does video, it's now doing audio. So you've got a huge array of offerings. How do you plan all that? So media agencies have their planning tools. We've just taken some of the thinking from media mix modeling and worked out what's the optimal mix if you're in the baby category, okay? Or if you're in electronics, or if you're in et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What's that optimal mix if you're trying to make people aware of your product, or convert, subscribe, or not subscribe, but for customer retention. So we've got the different this sort of product actually just gives you a whole range of different outcomes based on what you're looking to do, and then it'll help you literally sort of plan for that. And that's what we're using that tool for, to plan how we spend our clients' dollars as carefully as possible. But we do believe, and I'm sure you're a believer, that search complemented with higher awareness tactics such as display and video is incredibly powerful, because then you're filling your funnel and telling the brand story through display, through video, using Amazon data really powerfully to then bring people into that funnel. And there's just so much you can do with the full suite, but we're yet to see brands adopt that en masse. And I think that's a big opportunity for those that get in there.
Yeah, I don't even actually refer to sponsored ads as search ads anymore. I refer to them as native ads on the Amazon marketplace, because, you know, a lot of the, we see about a third of all spend and all conversions coming from product detail page. Amazon for sponsored ads has littered product detail pages, whether it be DSP, sponsored display, sponsored brand, or branded pat campaigns on the product detail page. And the fact is, most eyeballs spend a significantly more time on the detail page or browsing detail pages and examining products than they are on search. So I think that people almost get lost in search too many times, and it's about following the customer along the purchasing experience within Amazon. And search is a big part of that. Don't get me wrong. Owning top of search on really important terms and branded terms is absolutely paramount. But owning the full suite of inventory that Amazon provides you is just a really big part of the story as well. So I know every brand's different. I know every strategy is different and every category is different. But based on what you're seeing and based on what you guys advise your clients, if I'm a brand hypothetically and I have $100,000 to spend on media on Amazon, what do you think is the optimal mix across search, sponsored ads, sponsored brand video? You mentioned video, DSP. How should they be thinking about marrying all those different ad types and along the advertising funnel within Amazon?
Thanks for the tough question, mate. Look, really, it does depend on how busy your category is, because if you're in a really busy category, or how late you are to the Amazon party, you're going to have to really fight hard to win in search, where search is very much around how advanced and how mature and how much momentum your flywheel has. And we're seeing that with some very advanced sellers really dominating with no-name brands, and they're just dominating search in certain categories. I was looking at skateboards for my son's birthday next week, and there were no traditional name skateboards that I grew up with that are still out there selling skateboards. It was all these third-party sellers, but they're nailing it because I just put in kids skateboard. So that's where I think that if you're a new brand, you probably should take some risk and invest in more visual, more attention-grabbing type advertising. So display, and if you can, use video to really build the top of the funnel to then help you be more efficient in the lower funnel for those who see your brand and search for your brand. I think that would be more of I'd say 60% into sort of more attention grabbing upper funnel, and then 40 versus others. If you're more advanced, it'd be more like 60% lower funnel, 40%. So, but I think that's the mix I think that you would eventually get to, but not everyone wants to take that risk because, and now's the time to actually take that risk, because Facebook, there's a big issue with Facebook and across brands, across sellers right now. So we've got clients, they're saying, hey, what should we do? How can we sort of test and learn through this time? And I'd say, hey, change the mix, because a lot of brands are doing 90% search right now. And I think there's a big opportunity to really shift it and use Amazon data and some of the tools they have in a very, in an aggressive way versus just, let's test and learn, and there's still clients I'm talking to who are like, 5,000 on Amazon display, really? And there's others who are like doubling down because they realize that now's an opportunity to try it out. So I think that there's a big opportunity for those that think, let's challenge the way that we've been doing things.
And one of the keys there is just getting them out of the view that ACoS is a metric for success. People like just get married with ACOS, and it's like this is a vanity metric, and this does not tell the whole story of how you're doing on Amazon.
Amazon has done very well with ACOS. Very well.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Last question for you, Mark. I asked this for everyone that's joined a summer session and will be. Everyone loves to predict what's going on with Amazon. So can you give us a prediction for Amazon in the next year?
Golly, we talk about this internally. I truly think that, I wrote to a client today, we were talking about Walmart Plus, and everyone's like, what's going to happen with Walmart Plus? But Amazon is just so far ahead, okay? So far ahead with, so many, 150 million Prime members or 130, a lot. But Amazon is not going anywhere. And I think that it's going to be very interesting what it does in the physical retail space. And I'm calling it more physical, sort of more retail experiences. So whilst Walmart has its 3,000 stores and 500, Sam's Clubs, yep. But what is Amazon really going to do in that physical space? What players are going to make that's really going to be a game changer? I think that Amazon, I'm very excited about what Alexa is going to be doing. And I think, I know in my heart that it's going to be more than just.
Just one, Mark. One, just one.
Amazon Alexa. Don't think of it as Amazon Alexa. Think of it as Amazon's play in generic search that's going to really attack Google in a very aggressive way. Okay. It's a nice thing in our homes right now, but it is Amazon's play in generic search, where you will be walking down the street in the future because Amazon knows you so well, and it will make recommendations for restaurants or help you with directions. It'll be very interesting to see where Alexa goes. At the moment, we think of it as a voice activated speaker assistant, but it's really an AI powered avatar for ourselves, okay, in the Amazon ecosystem. And I'm very excited about that. And brands that think about what they can do with Alexa and how they look at this in the future will have an edge, because it's like looking at Google. If you could get into organic Google first page results or number one back in 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, would you have made the investment? I definitely would have.
Of course. That's not creepy at all, right? This whole omnipresent search recommender following you everywhere you go.
It's already there. I just don't think it's in the list of things that Amazon will do when it wants to do it.
That's very true. Mark, thank you very much for joining us from sunny Cali.
It's been a delight.
From the OC. This is great. We should do this next summer. Hopefully I'll have a tan to match yours for next summer. And
we can do it here. We can do it here together.
Yeah, we'll do a live one at the beach. We'll just get the Wi-Fi better at the beach. Well, thank you very much once again. Thank you for attending summer sessions. We had a great time, Mark. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.